Hey everyone, back tuning into today's video. Going to have a bit of a September look ahead today, see what the long range models have just updated are showing for September. It looks as though we're going to keep some quite anticyclonic influences going well on into the month actually. I was expecting we'd have quite an unsettled September, but now I'm beginning to go towards the idea that we're going to have quite a high pressure dominated month. Of course, September is one of those months that tends to be very dull really for weather watchers. Not much goes on in September very often. It very often is a very tranquil sort of sliding towards with a lot of high pressure. It looks like that's going to be the case for this September. We'll go through the charts in a moment. The advertising, there's green keyword ads on all my pages. If you roll your cursor over the green keywords, they'll display ads, but if you click through the words, you'll go to your advertiser's website. By doing that, you are supporting GasOpenBiz.com. You're helping to support the website, and thanks very much for doing that. So starting off with the JMA model, first of all, this is just updated this morning. This is 500 millibar heights, broken down into weekly periods starting from the 23rd of August to the 30th of September. It's upside down, so the British Isles is just there. It's not that easy to make out, but that's where we are on this chart. And what this is basically showing is that we're going to keep a lot of high pressure influences going for the coming week. So we've got the orange colours and the yellow colours there around the British Isles. That's an area of above average heights which really extrapolates to high pressure. We've also got high pressure sitting to the east and the northeast of the country. So really for the next week we are going to keep a lot of high pressure influences going out to the end of the month. So as we go through to the next weekly period, we're going to go from the 30th of August into around the 6th of September, and the idea then is that through that first weekly sort of period of September, we've still very much got the high pressure sitting across the country there. We've got the yellow and orange colours around the British Isles, so also the high pressure will go on into the start of September, certainly mainly dry and fine conditions. And then the next two weekly periods takes us something like the 22nd of September, so going well on into September, and then we do lose the heights quite a bit. The heights do come down, but we've still got, notice, there's the British Isles there. Notice that we've still got this area of yellow sitting just to the north of the northeast of the country, so even like out to the middle of September, the model is still seeing that we're going to be experiencing mainly high pressure dominated conditions, I think, although I say the heights are lowering somewhat. That's probably just because we're going further out into the period and it's losing the signal a little bit. But once you get those areas of yellow still showing up at the 3rd and 4th weekly periods, it's still an indication that even out to the latter stage of the forecast, there's still some sort of anticyclonic influences at play going well on into September there. If we have a look at the 500 millibar height anomalies from the Beijing Climate Centre, these actually updated a couple of days ago. And this is taking us from the 10-day period. This is 10 days rather than weekly periods that we've just seen on the JMA. This is the 10-day period from the 21st of August to the 30th of September. And we're in the orange colours there for British Isles. So again, it's indicated that for this final weekly period coming up, high pressure will be dominating above average heights for the next 10-day period going to the end of August. Now as we move through to the next 10-day period, which takes us from the 31st of August to the 9th of September, then it's seeing the blue colours appearing here. We lose the above average heights, we go more towards near normal heights actually across the British Isles, actually below average heights sitting out in the Atlantic. So at some point through this 10-day period, the Beijing Climate Centre is seeing that will turn a little bit more unsettled. Now I'm not quite sure about that. I don't think that is quite right. I think certainly we're going to start the first 5 days of September under high pressure. Then it may turn a little bit more unsettled, but I don't really see a lot of evidence for it on the JMA model, to be honest. As we go through to the next 10-day period, look what happens. It brings the above average heights back again, going from the 10th of September through to the 19th of September, a big area of above average heights then, sitting more to the north and the northeast of the country really, and we do still have some below average heights down towards Spain, so that's perhaps a little bit more unsettled for England and Wales, but the bulk of the country actually is probably mainly high pressure dominated. Now the difference with this is that we're starting probably to bring the winds more in from a northeasterly direction with that position of the above average height. So it may be turning a little bit cooler with that, but nevertheless it's still mainly dry with high pressure very much in control. Let's have a look at the city forecast, city temperature forecast from the CFS model. This is from the United States. It's from the website weatherweb.net. You can find a link to that on my links page. It's showing that for the rest of August, this is the 1st of September just here, for the rest of August into September, we do keep it relatively warm, to be honest, with temperatures generally flat or maybe picking up a little bit actually right at the end of the month, going inside of September. On the warmest side, not desperately hot perhaps, but certainly on the warmest side. Then from around the 5th, 6th September, we get that slide in the temperatures just briefly, and they may pick up again for a day or two. Then the general idea is that we're on a downwards trend from around the 7th, 8th of September through to, say, around the 26th or 27th of September. Then, interestingly, going into October, we actually see things picking up a little bit in terms of the temperatures going into the start of October. That's quite interesting. It's a long way off. Let's concentrate on what it's showing for September. And really, I think what you can take from this is that overall, we're going to be seeing the temperatures dipping away after a warmish start to September. From around the 6th or the 7th, I think we see the temperature starting to slide off. We begin to bring cooler air masses into the high pressure. Probably start getting some quite cool nights and maybe for a while warmish days still. But I think certainly under the high pressure from around the 6th, 7th, we can start looking at some cooler nights, and that begins to pull the temperatures down more and more as we go through the month. So actually, by the time we get through to the middle of the month, we could be looking at quite a coolish sort of month with temperatures, quite a coolish spell, I should say, with temperatures probably just getting in towards the mid to upper teens. Just have a look at the precipitation forecast from the CFS model, see what it's predicting in terms of the rainfall, and from Michigan extrapolate where the high pressure is sitting. This is taking us up to the week up to the 29th of August, so it's actually taking us up to the end of August, and it's the idea that high pressure is really quite dominant through that weekly period. As we know, I think that's a pretty good forecast. High pressure should be firmly in control. Now for the next weekly period, which takes us through to the 5th of September, again it's the idea that high pressure will be dominating. Slightly different orientation to the high pressure, perhaps more centred to the west of the country, but really it's high pressure dominating. The jet stream up here is to the north of the country. That's where the unsettled weather will be. As we move through to the 12th of September, week from the 5th to the 12th, look at that, high pressure is still really in control of the pattern here, sitting over the country. It is actually more over the country through that weekly period. Again, we could be starting to bring down somewhat cooler air masses from the east and the northeast, I think, with that, but it would still be relatively warm, maybe more noticeable that at night. But really dry weather going on. We're into up to the 12th of September now. Dry weather is going on through to the week to the 19th of September. It's seeing that more or less high pressure carries on even up to that week, although it is being squeezed. That's where the high pressure is. We've got the low pressure out of the Atlantic, and low pressure is very much taking over the central parts of Europe. So the high pressure is being squeezed from both the east and the west as we go through that week, that middle week of September. But still, more or less, the high pressure is hanging on. But I suspect as we go through that week, it perhaps does turn a little bit more unsettled. And then as we get through to the weekend of the 26th of September, the suggestion then is that the high pressure really is being swamped. It's still trying to keep it more or less dry, but look how much precipitation there is around much of Europe and the Atlantic. The idea, I think, really is that high pressure is very much being squeezed by low pressure by the time we get through to the latter stages of the month. But that's a long way off, and you have to say that the suggestion from all of this, the basic idea from all of this, is that high pressure looks as though it's going to be really quite dominant through much of September, certainly through the first half of September. Whether we can keep it maintained the second half of September is doubtful. At some point it's got to start turning a little bit more autumnal, you would think. But certainly the first half of September, on the basis of these models, looking quite high pressure dominated, and it's going to start off pretty warm. I think as we go through the period, naturally we're going to find the sun getting weaker, so it should start getting cooler, becoming evident particularly at night. When we get longer nights, the heat radiates out. But overall, a very fair, fine sort of first half of September looks likely on the evidence of this morning. It's going to leave me struggling with things to talk about because September is not an exciting month at the best of times. When you're under high pressure going on and on and on through September, it can get really rather dull, so I'm going to be left with things to struggle things to struggling to talk about. But for anybody that likes useful weather, and that particularly farmers, of course, doing harvesting in September, it's very good news. High pressure looks like going to dominate for much of the first half of the month on the basis of this morning's models. Now, these are all very experimental models, so this is all comes with a big health warning. And we're doing a weekend forecast tomorrow. That's based on tried and tested shorter range models. Nothing experimental about that, so come back for that. That's it for now. I'll be doing a bank holiday weekend look ahead, by the way, tonight. A very final look at the bank holiday weekend. Again, come back for that. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching.